Ever wondered how the simple act of breathing keeps us alive? It's a marvel of nature, an intricate dance of biology and chemistry that happens within us every moment of every day. At the heart of this dance is our body's respiratory system. This system has the critical job of supplying life-sustaining oxygen to our blood and removing the waste product, carbon dioxide. How does it achieve this? The respiratory system is made up of several key players: our nose and mouth, which take in the air; our throat, the gateway to our lungs; the main stage where the exchange of gases occurs; and our diaphragm, the unsung hero that powers our breathing. Each part performs its role flawlessly, working together in perfect harmony. And all this happens without us even having to think about it. Just like a well-oiled machine, our respiratory system works tirelessly to keep us alive and well. Now imagine this. You take a deep breath. Where does this oxygen go? This life-giving gas, oxygen, enters your body through your nose or mouth, depending on how you choose to breathe. As it enters, it passes through the nasal or oral cavity, where it is warmed, moisturized, and filtered of dust or other particles. From there, it's a smooth slide down the pharynx, the common passage for both food and air, and then into the larynx, the voice box that allows us to speak. The journey doesn't stop there, oh no. The oxygen then travels down the trachea or windpipe. This sturdy tube, fortified by rings of cartilage, guides the oxygen down into the bronchi. Think of the bronchi as the grand gateways to your lungs. They branch out into smaller passages, the bronchioles, which further divide into even smaller tubes. Finally, we arrive at the main event, the lungs. Within these spongy organs, the bronchioles end in tiny air sacs, called alveoli. Picture these as minuscule balloons numbering in millions. Each alveolus is surrounded by a network of capillaries, small blood vessels thinner than a strand of hair. Here's where the magic happens. Oxygen diffuses through the thin walls of the alveoli, crosses the capillary wall, and enters the bloodstream. That's right. The oxygen you breathe becomes a part of you, being carried away by red blood cells to every nook and cranny of your body. But wait, there's more. This is a two-way street. The same blood bringing in fresh oxygen also carries away carbon dioxide, a waste product of the body's metabolism. Carbon dioxide follows the reverse path, diffusing from the blood into the alveoli. It then hitches a ride on the outgoing breath, traveling up the bronchioles, bronchi, trachea, larynx, pharynx, and finally out through the nose or mouth. And there you have it, a single breath, a journey of life. Isn't it amazing how this intricate system works to breathe life into us? You might think of lungs as simple airbags, but they are much more complex and fascinating. Let's dive into the world of these biological marvels. Our lungs, nestled within the rib cage, are spongy organs that play an essential role in the respiratory system. They are responsible for the exchange of gases as we breathe. The oxygen we inhale enters the bloodstream from the lungs and is transported to the cells in our body. Simultaneously, carbon dioxide, a waste product formed in the cells, is expelled out of the body when we exhale. Now let's visualize the structure of these incredible organs. Each lung is divided into sections called lobes, 2 in the left and 3 in the right. They are lined with millions of tiny air sacs or alveoli where the actual gas exchange occurs. These alveoli are so numerous that if spread out, they would occupy a surface area nearly the size of a tennis court. Speaking of size, let's talk about lung capacity. Lung capacity refers to the maximum amount of air that your lungs can hold. It varies from person to person, depending on factors like age, gender, fitness level, and even altitude. An adult male's total lung capacity typically ranges from 4 to 6 liters. But how do our lungs manage to expand and contract with each breath? Enter the diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle located just below the lungs. When we inhale, the diaphragm contracts and moves downward, creating more space for the lungs to expand. Conversely, when we exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and moves upward, pushing out the air. The beauty of this system lies in its simplicity and efficiency. Every single component, from the smallest alveoli to the mighty diaphragm, works in perfect harmony to ensure we can breathe and live. So, the lungs are not just airbags, they're our very own life support system. But what happens when this intricate system encounters a hiccup? Imagine a well-oiled machine suddenly grinding to a halt. That's what happens when respiratory disorders like asthma, bronchitis, and pneumonia strike. These conditions disrupt the normal functioning of our respiratory system, turning the simple act of breathing into a daunting task. Let's take a closer look. Asthma, for instance, is a chronic condition where the airways become inflamed and narrow. This inflammation makes the airways extremely sensitive to irritants and increases susceptibility to allergic reactions. Imagine trying to breathe through a narrow straw. That's what asthma feels like. Then there's bronchitis, an inflammation of the lining of your bronchial tubes, which carry air to and from your lungs. People with bronchitis often produce sputum or mucus, which can further block the airways and make it difficult to breathe. Picture a pipe clogged with sludge, struggling to transport water. That's bronchitis for you. Next up is pneumonia, an infection that inflames the air sacs in one or both lungs. The air sacs may fill with fluid or pus, causing cough with phlegm or pus, fever, chills, and difficulty breathing. It's like trying to inflate a water-filled balloon. Not so easy, right? These conditions, while different in many ways, all affect our ability to breathe comfortably and efficiently. They underscore the importance of maintaining respiratory health. After all, every cell in our body depends on the oxygen we breathe to function optimally. So how can we keep our respiratory system healthy? It starts with not smoking or quitting if you do, avoiding exposure to pollutants, practicing good hygiene to prevent infections, and getting regular exercise to keep your lungs strong and resilient. Remember, every breath counts. So, let's take care of our amazing respiratory system.